something, but hearing it from somebody else make it probably hit a little different.
You think somehow me going to talk to him about something is going to be a wake-up call?
Nobody expected Tisha to speak up like this. For years, she played the background role, calm, composed, almost too quiet. While the internet dragged her name, while blogs dissected her marriage, while rumors bounced from comment section to comment section, she stayed silent. Not because she didn't feel it, not because it didn't hurt, but because she believed silence was strength.
Like, this is crazy. Like, people are really offering you money to come on this show and lie. So at that point, I was like, forget it. It's a lie. Like, now I don't believe anything.
But silence has a breaking point. And when it breaks, it doesn't crack softly. It shatters. Because this time, Tisha wasn't posting for attention.
Harassing communications was you sending the picture.
No.
Right.
No, it wasn't.
Okay, that's the question I got to ask. The question is, how do you feel about that? That makes me lose respect for Martez.
If it was true.
If it was true, yeah. I didn't say it was true. I assumed it was true.
So
you assumed
now that
was?
he's saying that it's not true, how do you feel about it?
I don't know if I would believe Martez.
She wasn't clout chasing. She wasn't dropping hints for storyline drama. She was drawing a line, a hard one. And the message was loud without her saying a single word. Sidechicks were no longer welcome in her space, her life, or anywhere near her peace.
So, talking about business, like, can we not appreciate this moment right here?
I'm sorry. It's a business trip.
Let's rewind, because this moment didn't just fall out of the sky.
I hope that this doesn't make Tisha annoyed with me because I know she wanted some alone time.
Tisha didn't wake up one morning and decide to go off. This was years in the making, years of holding it together while the world pulled her apart piece by piece. When Love and Marriage Huntsville first aired, Tisha was introduced as the loyal wife, the supportive partner, the woman holding her family down while the cameras rolled. She believed in presenting unity, in protecting her home, in keeping certain things off limits for public consumption. That choice came with a price, because the moment her marriage became part of reality TV, it became public property. Viewers didn't just watch, they investigated, they speculated, they assumed. Every smile was questioned, every argument was magnified, and every rumor, no matter how wild, suddenly had legs. At first, it was whispers, subtle comments, little jokes people made online about Marcel working too much or being a little too comfortable around certain women. Tisha brushed it off. She trusted her husband. She trusted her foundation. Or at least she tried to. But here's the twist. The noise didn't die down. It got louder. Blogs picked up anonymous messages. Screenshots started floating around. Timelines were being built by strangers who didn't even know them personally. People began saying Tisha was turning a blind eye or choosing to stay stupid, and that narrative stuck. What nobody really talked about was how isolating that feels. To be married, yet constantly told by the world that your husband doesn't respect you. To stand beside your partner while millions of people question your intelligence. To be strong publicly, while privately wondering why your name is always connected to a mess you didn't create. And then there was the side chick conversation. That word alone became a trigger because it wasn't just gossip. It was tied to real people, real situations, and old wounds that never fully healed. Especially when Martel's infidelity blew up the entire cast dynamic. That situation changed everything. Lines were drawn, friendships cracked, loyalty became questionable, and suddenly side chicks weren't just an idea, they were a recurring theme. That's when Ari and Curry's name stayed hovering over the show like a storm cloud. Whether she was on camera or not, her presence was felt. Interviews, lives, posts, subtle digs, loud accusations. She made it clear she wanted her version of the story told, and every time she spoke, it reignited conversations that Tisha was desperately trying to move past. But here's where things really started shifting. Tisha and Marcel weren't just dealing with rumors, they were dealing with the emotional aftermath of constant suspicion. Imagine going home after filming, checking your phone, and seeing thousands of comments questioning your marriage. Imagine having to reassure your kids while the internet debates whether your family is real or fake. That kind of pressure doesn't disappear when the cameras stop. So they did something people didn't expect. They went to therapy. That admission alone was huge because for years, Tisha and Marcel prided themselves on being solid. Therapy meant acknowledging cracks. It meant admitting the noise had seeped in. Tisha openly shared that the rumors were starting to affect how they communicated, not because they were true, but because repetition wears you down. And while they were trying to heal, the outside world kept poking the wound. Every few weeks, something new would surface. An old clip, a recycled allegation, someone claiming they knew something, and almost every time, fingers pointed back to side chicks and messy behavior. Tisha noticed a pattern. It wasn't random. It felt targeted, strategic, like someone wanted her to snap. And then she did, but not the way people expected. She didn't go live yelling. She didn't drop a long rant naming names. She reposted a video. Simple, clean, deadly. The message? Side chicks lack integrity. Side chicks can't be trusted. Side chicks destroy homes and then play victim. And baby, that repost shook the internet. Because for the first time, Tisha wasn't defending, she wasn't explaining, she wasn't protecting anyone else's image. She was speaking for herself. And it landed like a warning shot. What nobody expected was how personal it felt. The words in that video mirrored everything Tisha had been accused of tolerating. It called out manipulation, emotional games, women who knowingly insert themselves into relationships and then cry innocence when things explode. Tisha didn't add a caption. She didn't need to. The silence around it made it louder. Fans immediately knew who it was aimed at, and whether it was about one person or a pattern, the message was clear. She was done being passive. But here's where the story gets deeper. This wasn't just about side chicks. This was about boundaries. For years, Tisha protected everyone else's feelings. She stayed quiet so her marriage wouldn't look messy. She stayed quiet so her kids wouldn't see chaos. She stayed quiet so the show wouldn't spiral. Meanwhile, people mistook her silence for weakness. What nobody expected was that Tisha had been watching, observing, taking notes. She saw how narratives were built, how lies spread faster than truth, how certain people benefited from keeping drama alive, and she reached a point where peace mattered more than perception. That repost wasn't impulsive, it was intentional, and the aftermath proved it. Fans flooded her comments, not with criticism, but support. People said it was about time, that she had every right to speak up. Even longtime critics admitted they respected her restraint because she didn't insult anyone directly, she addressed the behavior. But of course, not everyone was pleased, because when you stop protecting mess, the people benefiting from it feel exposed. Suddenly, old tensions resurfaced. Rumors about filming shifts and production favoritism started circulating again. Whispers about Arian possibly stepping into the spotlight grew louder, and if that happens, it could change the entire dynamic of the show. Here's the twist nobody can ignore. If Arian does come on camera, it won't be quiet. She's already made it clear she wants to set the record straight, and if that record includes accusations against Marcel or the Scotts, things could get explosive fast, especially now that Tisha has made her stance public. Because this time, she's not backing down. Imagine the tension of being in the same room. One woman who believes silence protected her family, another who believes speaking out is reclaiming her truth. Two completely different approaches colliding on national television. That's not just drama, that's emotional warfare. But here's the part people often overlook. Tisha isn't just a wife on a reality show. She's a woman who had to learn how to protect her mental health in a space that thrives on chaos. She's someone who learns that loyalty doesn't mean self-erasure, and that sometimes speaking up doesn't make you messy, it makes you honest. The emotional toll of being constantly accused, doubted, and dissected can't be overstated. It affects sleep, confidence, relationships, trust. Tisha admitted the internet got into her marriage, not because she believes the lies, but because constant negativity creates cracks where doubt can creep in. And yet, she stayed. That takes strength people rarely acknowledge. Her kids had to see their parents questioned publicly. Her husband had to deal with accusations that never fully went away. And Tisha had to decide every day whether staying silent was worth the cost. This moment, this repost, this was her choosing herself. Not chaos, not revenge, self-respect. And the most powerful part, she didn't ask for validation. She stated her truth and let it stand on its own. Now, moving forward, everything feels different. Tisha isn't hiding anymore. She's not sugarcoating, and she's not letting side narratives dictate her peace. Whether this shifts storylines or forces uncomfortable conversations, one thing is clear: the quiet version of Tisha is gone. What replaces her isn't loud or reckless, it's firm, grounded, unbothered. And that scares people who relied on her silence. Because when a woman who's been quiet finally speaks, it's not to argue, it's to set boundaries. So the real question isn't whether she went too far. The real question is, why did it take this long for her to be heard? Because if protecting your marriage makes people uncomfortable, maybe the problem was never you. And if calling out destructive behavior feels like an attack to some, maybe it's because the truth finally hit too close to home. One thing's for sure, this season won't be the same. Tisha has spoken, and she's not taking it back. Now, I want to hear from you. Was this long overdue, or did it cross a line? And if side chicks want a seat at the table, should they even be invited? Drop your thoughts below, because this conversation is far from over.